My girlfriend told me how she used to humiliated a weird kid in high school, and she laughed while telling me like it's something to be proud. But what she did was pure evil. Now I can't look at her the same. I am 24, and I have only known my current girlfriend, 22, for about 3 months, but we have great chemistry so far. A few days ago, we were talking about some stories we each had from high school. She told me about a weird kid in her school that her friends used to mess with. She used to pretend to be interested in being his girlfriend, and then she'd embarrass him by getting him to do something humiliating or showing their private text to other people, etc., or they'd set up some kind of elaborate prank on him. In the story she told me, she was on a date with him one night in a park, and she told him she wanted him to take off his pants for her. After he did it, her other friends came and took the pants, and everyone drove away, leaving him alone to walk home in his underwear. She told me more stories, but you get the point. It made me sad, though, because I got the impression the guy might have been a little mentally disabled or something, because she said that after everything they'd do him, he still wouldn't understand that she was in on all these pranks with her other friends. She'd either pretend it had nothing to do with her, or she'd make up some excuse, and the kid kept falling for it. She really thought it was funny, though, like she could barely contain herself while she was telling me this stuff. It's been a few days, and it's bothering me, so I figured I'd ask for some advice. I have a feeling this is a huge overreaction. It's just a strange feeling because she seemed incredibly sweet up to this point, but after telling me this story and the lack of remorse, it's difficult to look at her the same way. I'm not perfect by any means, and I feel like I'm being a dick for judging someone about something that happened in high school, but it still bothered me. Thanks for any advice. Best comments. Be honest with yourself here. She repeatedly cultivated a fake romantic interest between herself and a vulnerable person purely to victimize them. She didn't make a spur-of-the-moment error of judgment. Both her and her friends planned this out, laid the groundwork, and then executed it again and again. She didn't just mess around with someone's heart. She went all out to humiliate and harm their mental health. You have no idea how deeply the damage they did to this guy, even to this day. People have taken their own life because of the impact bullying has had on them, and yet she has not a single shred of remorse. She thinks it's a hoot, a great tale to tell to garner a few giggles. There is something fundamentally wrong with your girlfriend, something you can't fix and could be turned against you one day, should you not meet her expectations somehow. At 3 months in, I'd call this a deal breaker and make my excuses to end things. Actually, even at 3 years and I'd be out. I wouldn't want to risk raising a family with someone who found such cruelty so amusing, just in case they tried passing on their warped ideas of humor onto our kids. That's an insightful way of putting it. It's just difficult for me to make sense of these actions given everything else I know about her. But you're right, what she did was really terrible, and it's hard to find an excuse for it. One of my favorite high school memories was explaining to the slow guy that the other kids were not being friendly and were mocking him/effing with him. It was definitely a laughing at, not laughing with situation. He beat the shit out of them the next time they messed with him. I went to the principal and explained what had happened. He didn't get in trouble. I got told to never effing do that again. Every job I worked in that town, he'd come visit and shop there. Many years later, I worked with his brother, who was not impaired. He hugged me and said that I changed the course of his brother's life. He'd been quiet and bullied until I calmly explained things to him. After that, he became outgoing and confident. He'd ride the bus to go around town and just had a happy, vibrant life. Teenagers do dumb, cruel shit. One of the signs of growing up is leaving that shitty behavior behind. The fact that she seems to look back on treating an impaired person like shit is something like a cherished memory. Run, don't walk. It's in no way an overreaction. She's a cruel, shitty person. That's a great story. I just wanted to thank everyone for all your advice so far. I have a lot to think about, and I'm pretty set on breaking up with her, but as someone else suggested, I do want to talk to her and see what she says if I actually confront her about what she did being wrong. The story she told me made me sad, but the response of all of you made me really happy to see so many great people and to know that I wasn't overthinking it. By the way, I can't find a comment now, but someone said she probably teases dogs by holding food over its face. Just wanted to say you're correct. That's what she did the first time she ate near my dog until I told her to stop. I hate when people do that, but I know a lot of people do, so I didn't think much of it. But seriously, amazing prediction. Thanks for helping connect the dots. Update number 1. 3 days later. Hey everyone. First, I wanted to say thanks for all the advice you gave me originally. I asked the question thinking I was overreacting, but as I read some of your responses, especially from those who had traumatic experience themselves, it sort of knocked some sense into me. So I appreciate that. That being said, this was still pretty hard for me, even though we've only been together for 3 months. I know that sounds silly, but it's true. I decided to take the advice of talking to her before breaking up. People wanted to know what the result was, so I'll try to briefly give you the gist of it. Last night we hung out for a couple hours, and to be honest, we really had a great time together, and it was hard for me to even have this conversation at the end of it. I wanted to just move on and ignore the red flag, but I knew it shouldn't be ignored. I brought up the kid she told me about again, but I did it very casually, not like I was going to lecture her or something, so her guard was still down. She started laughing just at the mention of him. She casually told me another story of her friend's antics with him. I then asked her why they liked to mess with him so much. She paused for a second and then kind of giggled and said, I don't know, he was just a douchebag. I asked, why was he a douchebag? Did he do something to you to make you mad at him? She said, not really, he was just so stupid and naive it was annoying. There was a pause because I didn't really know how to follow up to that answer. Then she continued and said, exact words, he had no purpose, he was just there to make people laugh. It really made me sad to hear that, because I wanted there to be some explanation that reduced the cruelty of the situation, but there wasn't. I got kind of angry, and I just told her that everything she told me was absolutely horrific, that she should think about how she would feel if someone did these things to her. I said that to torture an innocent person just because it's entertaining is a totally inhuman thing, and the fact that she still has the same mindset today shows how immature she is on top of it. I'm normally not harsh like that, but it just came out. While I was talking, she gave me a look of total incredulity, like she thought I was joking or going insane or something. I told her I can't continue a relationship with somebody like this, even though we had such a great thing up to this point. I actually had to convince her I was serious and not joking around. She thought the real reason I wanted to break up was this minor thing that happened a couple weeks ago. She just couldn't believe that I was ending the relationship because of this. Once she knew I was serious, she got extremely angry, saying that I was just getting off on shaming her because I wanted to abuse her and that I have no right to talk to her like that and so on. She called me all kinds of names and said how she never liked me anyway and how I'm a loser, etc., etc. But other than that, we parted ways smoothly. I got some angry texts this morning, which I'm saving for a while, just in case. So there it is. I honestly feel better already because I know it's for the better, especially considering her reaction. I figured I'd give you this update since everyone seemed pretty interested in the situation. Thanks again. Best comments. You dodged a massive bullet just from seeing her reaction. You missed a nuke. She has no empathy and whatsoever. There is probably some F-up reason she was with him and not because she just liked him. Tell me if I'm wrong, but a person who can't feel remorse can't be affectionate towards another. Her reaction was completely expected. He had no purpose. He was just there to make people laugh. I mean, if the sociopath character on a TV show said that, I'd say the writers were taking it too far.